Today on Metaphysical Mississippi, we have Willow and Mercury bringing witches, and they share some about the spring equinox, what spiritual names they have, and much more. Enjoy the show. Welcome to Metaphysical Mississippi. I'm Emily, and of course, you already know Christy and Kelly. And we are going to be talking about the spring equinox, as well as a few other holidays that I don't know if they're called holidays in the pagan or Wiccan, or y'all will help me define what we're going to talk about.
Sabbath, yeah.
But Sabbats and Ostara and Imbolc. I don't know how to pronounce. What is it?
Imbolc.
And Ostara.
Thank you. So anyway, we're going to talk about that today. So thank y'all for being here. I'm so excited.
Hey, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I know that I've referenced to you before, Willow, and then Kelly, now you're Mercury. Could you explain those names? You said there are spiritual names that you give yourself. Could you just explain the names, and how do you prefer people to reference you or talk to you in different settings? Do you use the names at different times?
Christy, I'll let you go since you've used yours longer.
Yeah, I know for me in witchcraft, being a witch, a lot of times you'll be given a spiritual name, whether you just kind of feel it in your heart, like your higher self is telling you, this is who you are, or it could be given during a journey, a meditation from a spirit guide. Me personally, mine was from an ancestor. I actually did one of Sherry's past life regressions, and it was during a past life, but it was all kind of in one. Like in my class, we were learning about spiritual names, and they were like, if you're given one, fine. If not, it's fine. If you don't feel comfortable, you don't even, some people don't even tell people their spiritual names. Like they hold them very sacred to themselves. Every witch their own. To every person their own, whatever you like to identify with. And during this journey, this past life regression, my grandmother was standing in front of me, and just like if you and I were in the same room talking, and it was like, what's her name? And I said, Wita. And she said, ask her what your name is. And I said, what's my name? And she said, Willow. And I saw myself as Willow in a past life, sitting with the echinacea plant.
Oh my goodness.
And when I came to, I was just like, Willow. Now, whether that's just a name, one of my past life names, I work with it as a spiritual names. I work with the willow tree as well. And so it really holds a lot of meaning to me. And I'm 46 years old. I've been using Christy Littlefield for a really long time. So I go by Christy a lot, but I've started working in Willow into when I do spiritual workings, whether I'm teaching a class or like over the weekend, I just spent 3 days on Zoom classes with the Temple of Witchcraft. It was called Temple Hearth. And it was, I don't even know how many classes I took, around 10 different classes. And so you see my name is Willow on the screen because I wanted to be known as Willow. And like even at work, we do our AKAs. It's Willow, aka Christy Littlefield, because the majority of the community knows me as Christy Littlefield. They wouldn't know, well, who's this Willow chick,
Yes.
So to me, the name along with the tree, the relation to the tree. I work with OMs a lot, which is like one of the first alphabets. And so with the symbolism and the tree spirit and my spirit, it just really resonates with me. So I feel comfortable with the name Willow for my spirit name. And that could change. A year from now, I could be Cedar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
I kind
I'm
of
a
like that.
grandmother, I'm gonna be Cedar.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. Oh my gosh, I think you might be.
I'm morphing. I'm morphing it and right in
We
front
all
of you.
we all evolve. We all evolve.
Oh, wow.
I mean, if you feel like you want to call yourself Stacy, my name is
Yeah.
Stacy. That's who I am. That's who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be like, a plant name or this, whimsical. Everybody wants everything be sparkly, and it's not always sparkly and whimsical. It's just what you resonate with. It's what makes
Yeah.
you happy and what makes you comfortable and what makes you say, oh, fuck yeah, that it empowers you. It's something that empowers you. It ain't about nobody else. So even if it's just Jan or, whatever.
Do you see yourself when you put that name to and you see yourself in your mind's eye, does it help Willa really put that name there to like I'm activating my spiritualness now that I put on Willa?
Oh yeah.
Almost like the Spider-Man in a suit,
Right.
It kind of, I mean, it kind of
Definitely.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Just like how I would, wear my pentagram or put on my cloak. My name definitely does empower me. There is power. I have put power in that name. And throughout my journey, that name has had power to it, not just this life. That name was empowered in another life as well. Oh, I got chill bumps saying that. I think maybe I might have just come to a realization. Uh, but yeah, like,
Yeah.
through my lifetimes, that name has been used and it really resonates with me. And yes, I do feel empowered when someone calls me Willow and it makes me smile. It makes me think about it. It makes me think, why is my name Willow and what that means to me and how that resonates with me. And yeah, most definitely a superpower name.
Yes. You said a cloak. What is
Ritual, we wear cloaks, like, so putting on your cloak, like an
Yeah.
actual cloak.
I have a lot of sashes too that I like to
yeah.
wear, and it's just they empower me as well. When I put that energy into them, whatever energy
Yeah.
I put into my clothes. I took one of the classes this weekend that I took was oh, it was amazing. It was like self-love, and it was like that love of like being sexual and sensual with yourself and being in love with yourself, just like you would do someone else. And she was talking about even putting power in your makeup, like how putting your makeup
Yeah.
on, it makes you feel more comfortable, don't it? It makes you want to speak out more. It makes you, it makes you feel better about your true self. So empowering your clothes, whether it's your favorite shirt, whether it's a pair of shoes, whether it's your mascara, or your lotion, even the lotion and the oils that we put on, like
Yes.
everything has energy. And when you put that energy into that, as you put it on your body, you're doing that with intent and intention. And when those intentions are, to doing it out of love for yourself, that's very empowering. So yeah, I think it works in that all of our, when we're creating ourselves, like it's kind of coming out of, we've all been molded, especially us
Yeah.
here in the South. We've been molded into, and that have went through religion through our lives. We've been molded into this certain shape, and it's like,
Yeah.
I didn't mold myself in that shape. I was letting somebody else mold me into that shape. So now I'm molding my own self. I am forging my own self. Who am I? What do I want? What resonates with me? What feels good with me? What feels good on my body? How do I make that feel good on my body? You know what I'm saying? Everything we do to ourselves has a purpose and a meaning, and it should.
Okay, how do you make a bra feel good to your body?
You take that motherfucker off.
You don't wear one. That's
You
society.
take it off.
That's not, you don't have
Right,
to wear
we're
that.
hiding your nipples from who? From what? Why? Because you can't control your pee. Whatever, man. You know what I'm saying? These nipples were for my children, for my babies. I'm tired of hiding them. Free the tatas.
Yes.
Okay, this video might be a little X-rated.
We're going to take a quick break and let Willow share a little bit more about Temple Hearth, an event she participated in over Imbolc weekend through the Temple of Witchcraft, as well as the virtual Zoom rituals that she participated in.
It was weird. That was the first time I ever did a class like that online. I mean, I've done online classes, but just like an hour or two. This was like it was 2 days. You had Friday night too, was kind of like the opening. But 2 full days of Zoom. It was pretty wild. And I wondered, I'm like, I always felt like it'd be a little impersonal, but it wasn't, because you have all these people, and even though I really didn't know anybody, like I felt kind of like a connection, and I'm like, hey, I'm Christy, I'm Willow.
Was it open to the whole because like I know I got the invite too, but I mean, was it open to outside the state?
Yeah, there was people from New England. There was people from Oklahoma.
It was the Temple of Witchcraft. It was actually the original from New Hampshire, right? Like it was the
there was people from Canada.
Yeah.
I mean,
cool.
Hawaii. There was a couple of 1 or 2 people from Hawaii, I believe. But yeah, it's just you could go to the Temple of Witchcraft. They have a website, and you can go. Like we have Temple Fest that's coming up, and I believe that's in like August, and that's like a 2 or 3 day event, and I think that one will be in person. But you can find out, they have a calendar of events. You can just go to their website and find out. They also have a store where you can find different books, and you can also get hooked up with the mystery school with all the classes, which I think everything's already just started, but I don't know, it's still kind of early, so you never know. Also, the Temple of Witchcraft does their Sabbats online. I believe they were saying that there's an online Sabbat for each one, so if you aren't sure about going to an in-person Sabbat and you want to kind of get a feel or know what it's like, you can register to do it online with the temple. Let me say one more thing, Kelly, because this kind of goes with what we're talking about in the class that I learned just yesterday. Wow. And so she's talking about, okay, even things you do or things you don't like, if you put that loving, sensual energy into that bra, and when you wear it, that's gonna how it makes you feel. Things that are uncomfortable to you, we make them uncomfortable by telling ourselves they're uncomfortable. So she was talking about doing her, like doing her billing and account stuff, like how when she didn't like doing that, didn't like balancing her checkbook and stuff. So what she did was she put on her lingerie and put on her high heels and got her makeup and got her a glass of wine, and when she sat down to do her accounting stuff, like she made it her own. You know what I'm saying? Like I may not like I might go put on my favorite tennis shoes and my favorite pants and a slinky shirt, and maybe put on one of my cloaks to make me feel good and be like, I'm gonna work these numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like, work that bra, work those numbers, work that name. You know what I'm saying? We got to stop hating on everything we do, because when you hate what you do or hate how have to act, or the person that you have to be,
change it.
Yeah.
Make it your own. Make it something that's comfortable for you.
Right.
We I was thinking though, when you were talking about for ceremony you put on cloak. The cloaks though, when you're in do y'all call them ceremonies or
Ritual or ceremony, yeah.
rituals?
Ceremony.
But is the cloak all the same, and is that to show also oneness, or are they individual cloaks of your own design to show? Like like in the Bible, you do a head covering. You know how some people do a head covering. So I was just wondering, when you wear the cloak, is it symbolic of oneness of a coven too?
Well, for me, like I've been a solitary for over 30 years, so
right.
mine is my own and is my own. But I've recently and become like general member of Temple of Witchcraft rituals, and I wear mine, and everybody, it does, not everybody wears the same one. Like because Christy doesn't, but she has like a black one, but then
I
some
have a dress, but I don't have a cloak yet.
yeah, and some have like the black, and
Okay.
they're gorgeous. And I think it's really it's like individualism, but also like what you feel comfortable in. And not everybody wears a ritual cloak. I do, because like for me it really delineates like this is ritual time, this is ceremony. Plus
Yes.
it kind of goes back to the time where you put on a cloak and your hood and you hurried off into the woods in the cover of darkness because you could be killed for what you were doing. So the cloak, it gave anonymity, like it was just a bunch of people in cloaked hooded figures, which looks eerie and mysterious now, but really it was just a practical way to get somewhere without people knowing who you were. So maybe it goes back to that, but
like that.
that's how I feel empowered and ready to do my like ritual magic and get like serious and focus, and it's when I am wearing that.
Well, it's a 3D protection.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you almost kind of think like in Harry Potter, he had the cloak of invisibility, right? So
yes,
it's just kind of that. It kind of, I don't know, it just gives you a measure of safety.
Yeah, I like that.
Thankfully not now in modern times, although our
Right.
everything is still private, but so it's really neat to see everybody don their ritual garb, because really it just kind of does change the atmosphere. It really is beautiful to witness.
I can see that. I mean, I can imagine it. So
you can see it in your mind's eye.
Yes. So let's talk about how you came upon finding your name.
My name,
Kelly.
So I have been practicing for over 30 years, and because most of my stuff was solitary, I never had to really, I knew there was a name out there for me, but nothing ever resonated. And then it was nothing ever wanted to force or look for. Just, it came across to Christy through a meditation. And for me, it just kind of like built, and there was like little inklings of telling me this is what it is, and thoughts, and like a knowing, that clairsentient knowing that I do have. It was just there, this is your name. And I fought it because like I'm not going to name myself a planet or a god. That's insane, right? No.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you, is it planet god or is it Mercury? Isn't Mercury an element?
So, well, they're all the same. The planet is named after the god.
Oh, gotcha.
And for me, it was all the correspondences or the things that you can attribute to Mercury. And I kept being like, no. And then finally in a meditation, it was, said, and there was like, okay, I can't fight it anymore. Like, so me not trying to pick one and force things, it kept coming, and now I'm forcing it not to be. So I'm still forcing it. So I had to just let go. And this is what it is. And just, I didn't actually speak it out loud until Yule ritual. I mean, I spoke it to myself and I told, but nothing in ritual until our Yule ritual with Temple of Witchcraft. And that's when I was asked to be a general member of the community. And I, what name would you like to be known as? And like, there was like, all of a sudden I felt something else take over my body, and it was just Mercury. And I was like, well, I did it now. I guess it's there because now it's done. So, and the attributes and correspondences to Mercury, the planet and the god, wisdom, intellect, communication.
I can see that. Yeah.
That is me, but also
Yeah, I see that.
negatives to that, tricker energy, just kind of a trickster, kind of a and that's also me. I'm not a trickster in the bad sense, but I can be goofy and kiddie and jokey and just kind of that energy. And it's also very quick, like he was the messenger of the gods. It's also Hermes. Mercury and Hermes are the same, the Greek and the Roman attribute. They're the same, right? Loki is the Norse god of that same energy. So we all know Loki now from the Avenger movies, right?
That's right.
That's all the same energy. I'm also a Gemini. Mercury is the ruling planet of Gemini. I'm a Gemini sun and I'm a Gemini moon. There's a lot. So a lot of that same energy that is me is mercurial. I'm mercurial. Like, I'm also, just of two, I'm very bipolar, so that a lot of it just kept fitting. And I kept saying no, because it'd be like, my name is Jesus, like in a very spiritual sense, right? That's weird. So I kind of felt that same weird, like, I can't say that, right? And it is what it is. And now it is. And it totally fits me. And so I use it just as Christy does. I would use it in ritual. I also use it when I'm working, magics. So now at work, we use, when we're doing Reiki or our intuitive card reading sessions, we are, or Christy also has our guided meditations. When we're working in that spiritual sense, we use our spiritual names. And that's just, and it's like a mantle. It's like putting on, that energy. Now I'm in this mode where I'm going to be communing and listening to spirit guides. So now I am Mercury. I am that, because now I am being the messenger. So that's how I use it.
I'm not ready to share, but I think I just asked myself what
I saw you shudder. Something just hit you like freight train.
Yeah, I'm not ready to share what it is.
Well, no, you haven't. See, that's how it hits you. It's like it's like, how do you know? It just boom, there it is. I know. Okay. And then you sit with it for a while. In your next meditation, it might give you some clarification. And as Christy says, it evolves as we evolve, as our souls evolve, as our energy evolves. The name also might evolve, because our job might evolve.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know all the mythology and all that kind of stuff, so I don't speak in that language, but I speak the Bible.
But exactly what you said right there, that language, it's a different language. No, but see how a name hits you, and you may not even know why, but as you dig into that research and you see the symbolism.
It's neat to be now in the woo-woo where you can just start seeing pieces of things just starting.
See, and this stuff always is happening, but when you start to open your mind, and then you actually see the things happening as synchronicities, not just weird coincidences, but like, holy moly, that's a message. Holy moly, that's a symbol. I'm meant to look into that. Like, when
there's a reason that everything happens, and comes before us.
Wow. Woo.
I love the woo-woo.
So when someone is initiated or invited in to
coven, a better word. Coven.
Is it coven? Okay. Do you have to have a name?
No, I mean, I could have said Kelly.
Okay.
that name is what came out. So it
Do
was
they
time.
keep-
It
do they
spoke itself.
do you sign in a book, kind of like a church membership, like oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have to reveal anything that is top secret.
No, our circles, our rituals used to be only for people that were in the temple. But now they're not. I guess it just depends on the high priestess. But with the inner temple of witchcraft, we and our high priestess, we allow people to come in. You do have to register. So we do ask you to register so that we know how many people are there. The space that we're occupying for our ritual spaces these days, there's a couple of them, and one of them we can only fit so many people in there.
Right, right.
So we ask people to register, and then once it's full, registration closes, whether you're a member of the mystery school or not. So
Okay.
anyone is allowed to come in. So there's nobody that's left out. But
Okay.
you do have to fill out registration so we know how many people are coming, and we know you're a real person. And
But all of that is also kept. It's especially if someone is
Yeah.
in the closet still, it is all
Yeah.
kept private. That
Yeah.
book
Yeah.
is not public. So if
yeah.
someone was still wanted to come to ritual, but they were not known outside in the regular community as being
Right.
pagan or interested in
Right.
anything like this. So by coming to ritual, and it's private. It is very kept private. So
And that's another thing with these names. I know you're fixing to say something,
No,
but
go
I'll
on,
forget.
Please go on.
Well, another thing is a lot of people don't want, they might have a real job where they would be shunned or kicked out if their witch life or spiritual life was revealed. So a lot of people take these names just to have another name to go by with their spiritual workings, whether it's author of a book, whether they're doing things, teaching classes or doing things like that. They would want to remain anonymous, so there is that reason that people use their spiritual names as well,
Yeah.
because we are still, in an age to where you get shunned if you're not a Christian, especially here down in the South.
Yeah. Have y'all experienced that personally in the job market?
have you
Or-
see where we work?
No, I know where you work, but I meant, or you don't even have to share, but have you felt, I mean, right now, I know y'all are doing, y'all, it's not that you've created the job, but you have kind of created
Yeah.
the job. So
we have a job in a woo-woo place.
Yeah, yeah.
But before had we? Well, before I lived in Southern California, so it
That's
was way different. And then when I moved here, I've been here 20 years. But when I first moved here, I stay-at-home mom for 10 years, and then the other half I ran my husband's mom's shipping thing, and they knew, but I was not woo-woo in front of them. I was in the closet with them, but they knew. They already gave me grace because I was from Southern California. They already thought I was weird.
Gotcha.
So it was just that. And then after that, I created my own business. So Christy could attest to that a little bit, probably better living here in
only if you feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable sharing it, don't.
Well, I mean, I've only been on this journey, for about, 6-7 years now. And even when I worked at Rainbow, before I knew that I was a witch, before I gave my weirdness a name, per se, I remember Doug, my husband, works in a printing shop, and he printed me out, I've been an herbalist for a while, and he printed me out these notepads because I was like, people always want to write stuff down when I'm telling them the information. And so he made me these notepads, and it said, Christy Littlefield, not a witch. Because I worked in the herb department, and people would just, assume I'm a witch or ask me, and I was surrounded by witches, which I didn't really know at that point. And it was just a joke to be kind of funny, you know. And
Yeah.
as I like turned my TV off and I started reading these books, and I think I had joined the Facebook. I've joined, I don't know if it was the metaphysical meetup or the pagan meet and greet, and then I started taking the classes and realizing that I'm a witch. And then I even had a friend of mine that was a witch and was like, you know, Christy, this is kind of getting a little, you know, that could be a little offensive, you know, with the Christy Littlefield, not a witch. So I started feeling comfortable about that. So I took them away. I still have a whole bunch of them. I found some the other day, and I was like, oh, this is
I
so
think they're
freaking
funny.
hilarious.
I think you should cross out the
Right.
one.
It was meant to, you know, just be a joke, because I worked in the herb department and I was this herbalist, and I
Yes.
knew about
Oh.
all these different, you know, whether it was a spiritual aspect of the plant or the medicinal aspect or culinary aspect of the plant. I knew all these different things. And so I was a witch before I was even a witch. But, you know, living here in Jackson, Mississippi, you know, sometimes I forget. Sometimes I'm so open and I'm so out about myself and about my spirituality. I forget how closed-minded a lot of people are and how dangerous that
Yeah.
it could be.
Yeah.
Um, but I just have to go with my instincts and do what I do. But be careful. Like, not everybody at our work knows. Not everybody that comes in. We have a lot of Christian people. We have a lot of pagans. We have a lot of, you know, non-denominational. I mean, we get people from all walks of life, and they don't walk in the door and we're like, "Hey, I'm Willow. I'm a witch. Let me do some shamanic healing on you." No, it's more like, okay, you came from Reiki. We'll give you Reiki. And some people
Yeah.
are like, okay, I want to, you know,
I wanted a little more woo woo. Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
we ask, you know, would you like us to incorporate stones? Would you like us to incorporate sound? You know, you kind of have to get to know your client. And, you know, I'm like a lizard, man. I can morph into whatever's happening and whatever energy's
Yes.
going on. I can kind of be there. And that's, as a healer, I think that's my part to do, to listen and feel and be there for somebody else, whether they believe in the same things that I do or not. Like, we're all in this together. We all share energy. We all share a common thing of this life on this planet. And to be there for one another and support each other, whether we agree with it or not, is so fucking important. Like,
Yes.
it really is important to listen and be there for people, even if you don't agree or resonate with them.
Yeah. If they're coming for healing, that's my job.
Yes. No, I totally
My job is to heal no matter what. You know, and that's, I put any opinions and plus really the people that are coming into, you know, Jack Zen are coming in and looking for that relaxing, just inclusive energy that is like, you've walked in the doors, you can feel it. And like that, I feel like instantly already they walk in the door and they immediately feel comfort first. And then, and so it's really easy to get people into that relaxation mode. We kind of leave all that, everything just kind of gets left at the front door. And now it's just about love and healing, you know?
Yes.
And Jason and Gina, you know, set that space and put that intention there. And we just carry that out. And we just continue that on a daily basis of cleansing and clearing, and then inviting in that good energy. And we set that intention every day in that space for that, you know, for that purpose. Right. You know, and when you're saying it and you're doing it, then you feel it.
Like, and really, like, I wear a necklace that proudly displays my spiritual practices. I obviously immediately look woo woo. I don't look like you're just average soccer mom. So like, I have experience. I think we talked about it in another podcast or episode at the market, the District of Eastover, in Fondren-ish, a little bit more North Jackson area, but I was, like, I would say, verbally accosted because of my really, like, just the way I practice. She didn't like the books on my table, so it got a little, and I just got quiet because I was shocked and stunned, and I really don't like confrontation like that at all.
Right.
My two friends came to my rescue on either side of me, so I didn't really say much, but yeah, it's out there,
Yes.
And with my job at that point, when I was marketing, doing the markets, like when we would have markets, like when we were at Rainbow, I felt really comfortable because Rainbow just already felt Rainbow was woo-woo. The people going there were open-minded anyway, because they weren't, eating commercial crap. They were looking for whole, like, foods, like full of, like supplements, like natural things. Like they were already my people. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So when we were marketing in front of Rainbow, it was different. I felt very comfortable. But then we branched out, and at one point we were next to a church up in Ridgeland, and that was the most uncomfortable I've ever felt. Marketing my witchy candles. We were in their green space. That was, I was looking for the lightning bolts.
Am I gonna get struck down for
I surrounded myself with my purification and protection candles. Like, no, that was so I've always very much been, especially with my business being a witchy business, like it is uncomfortable when I'm, weirdly I felt fine in the mall. I don't know why. We're at the North Park Mall. We were at the North Park Mall.
Oh, it's so uncomfortable in the mall.
Commercial is up though.
I felt so uncomfortable, like being in a place that sells plastic, and I was selling plastic. And then when Rainbow was open there, that was the most uncomfortable. I mean, I did it and I tried, and I would smudge, and all them people would walk by and be like, "What the hell is that bitch doing?" Well, I'm cleansing out all of y'all's fake ass energies. What I'm doing, no, not, you know what I'm saying. Not that the mall is bad. I know a lot of people that,
but it's just different. It's like, here's this natural place in the middle of this consumerism driven.
From having my hands in the dirt to that
all the glass and
that was not my jam.
Yeah,
I used your word.
Yeah. So with we're talking about earth and all that. I know that spring equinox is around the corner, and
we just had Imbolc.
Yeah,
that was last week.
So so it's spelled Imbolc, right?
No, Imbolg originally. Imbolc. It's Gaelic.
Oh, okay.
And then in more modern times you'll see it spelled Imbolc with a C at the end.
Oh, okay. I was typing it in wrong. Okay.
Well, that's how I know to spell it, is with the C.
Yes.
Okay.
That's how I learned it.
So I actually have pulled some references just to give us a little overview, and then we can chat.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mercury.
I am the messenger. I have the info. Look, you guys, seriously, I have been reference books are my love language.
I love them too.
Reference books are my jam. So we're gonna go with Raven Grimassi. I've had this book for over 20 years, 30 years now. I'm getting old. It's the Encyclopedia of Wicca and Witchcraft by Raven Grimassi. Raven Grimassi is actually a friend of my cousin. And he followed me back before he passed away on Facebook. So that was huge for me. Huge. Because he's been an author that I've really long since admired. Mm-hmm. But so this is his encyclopedia, and just from here, Imbolc is the old Irish name for an ancient Celtic festival occurring at the beginning of February. Imbolc was the second of the 4 great fire festivals of the Celtic religion, and under the Christian influence was also known as Candlemas. And that's where you'll get where the people were lighting, can't put a candle in the window. That was an old time like Christian practice. So that there's another time where a pagan festival and then a Christian holiday was kind of placed right on top, just to help the people transition.
Yes.
So it's from early times. Imbolc was associated with the fire goddess Bridget, who also then became Saint Bridget in Catholicism. Says that it was celebrated the approach of spring and the promise of renewal. And many Wiccan traditions, the festival observed on February.
Right. I mean, because it's the celebration of life coming back to the earth.
So Ostara is the also from Raven.
Okay.
The Scandinavian goddess of spring, who is Ostara, spelled Eostre, which if you rearrange the letters, that's about Easter.
Oh yeah.
So the Scandinavian goddess Ostara, then changed to modern times Ostara, is the Scandinavian goddess of spring who symbolized the rebirth of nature. During her festival, it was the pagan custom to exchange colored eggs as a symbol of renewal. Oh, Easter eggs, huh?
Yeah.
Her sacred animal was the hare. There's your Easter bunny.
Yeah.
Many modern Wiccans point to the festival of Ostara as the origins of the various aspects of Easter celebrations. In modern traditions of witchcraft, the festival of spring equinox is called Ostara. A form of this goddess's name appears in the early Christian works as the De Temporum Ration under the title Esther, Eostre, that's who I just said, who was the Anglo-Saxon goddess of spring. And so you see some Germanic stuff, kind of there's tying into the Germanic stuff. And it's just, she's seen as a goddess of the east, therefore of the dawn. And there's also that shows the symbolic resurrection of Christ through the dawn resurrection. And so you see a little bit more of the symbolism kind of leak over into Christianity. She's also worshipped as a quarter of the maiden, the three maiden. She's one of them. She's the mother aspect.
Yeah, maiden, mother, crone aspect. Yeah, and I don't know. For a second there with, you have your equinoxes and you have your solstices, and those solstices are when there's the balance of the light and the dark.
Yes. And this is the balance of the earth. So
right.
The autumnal equinox and the spring equinox are the quarters, and then the solstices are the quarters. So this is one of the equinoxes.
Right. And so we move with the flow of the earth. We move with the cycles. And with this cycle, this is where, the sun is more prominent. And it allows in the cold, you have longer days and the sun shines more and the warmer weather is starting to come back. And so this is the time of year when the life springs back to the earth. And Ostara is the goddess who brings the life back to the earth. And she's been in the underworld and she's been asleep. And there's this beautiful story that we're working into our ritual about how there's at one point where she was just being lazy, man. And she was, all snuggled up in her own stuff. And she wasn't trying to get up and hurry up and get out and do her work. I know we all can feel this. We all feel this way sometimes, it's like, I don't want to get up today. I just want to snuggle up and just stay right here in my own space. And I know I got work to do, but whatever, I'll do it later. Well, this one year she waited so long that when she did come out, that everything was cold and everything was frozen. And so the winter just lasted way too long. The animals were very hungry because they, everything that they had been relying on through the winter months had run its course and was all gone. The seeds, the bark, the things that they rely on. And she came across this bird, and the bird was just, it looked like it was dead on the ground. And she picks the bird up and it barely had life to it, like it was barely breathing. And she felt her heart just melted, like her heart sank, and she breathed the life back into the bird. And long story short, her and the bird became friends, through several cycles of these seasons. And one season when Ostara, and it was a sparrow, and the sparrow comes back to the earth, they're met by a jack hare, this rabbit, this big, huge rabbit that was, full of life, and, was jumping and so excited to see Ostara, and, doing its dance. And the bird was mesmerized. The sparrow was just mesmerized by this jack hare, and they just instantly fell in love with each other. I mean, it wasn't just like, oh, he looks cool. It was more like, I can't live without you, man. Like, and so Ostara, seeing this, as much as it broke her heart to part with the sparrow, she saw that the sparrow couldn't live without the jack hare. So she turned the sparrow into a she hare, and she went back into her, the season came and went, and she went back to the underworld, and was very sad and very, lonely, and just wept, and her heart was broken. But she loved the sparrow so much, she didn't want to keep her from her true love, and from her happiness, and from the work she had to do. And so she comes back out the next season, and she's met by all these jack hare and she hares, and they're just like spiraling in these spirals. And as Ostara walks through, they open up and create a path for her. And as she walks down the path, in the middle there is a nest, a bird's nest, and there's eggs in the nest. And one of the eggs hatched, and it was a white bunny. And she picks up the white bunny, and she sees what she did, that the life she gave back to the sparrow, and she gave the sparrow, let the sparrow be who the sparrow wanted to be. And the greatest love came from that. New life came from that. And that's the story, of Ostara. And so then the life comes back to the earth again. The sprouts start coming up, and the trees start sprouting, and everybody's happy and wonderful. And so now there's all these jack hare and she hares, and there's this big family because of this. So that's what we're celebrating.
Man, that is just so I mean, for one, I didn't know the story, and I mean, I never really gave it much thought about, bunnies.
Well, that's the first time I've actually heard that story. I think that's beautiful.
But yes, but you know what? I mean,
my hip is starting to hurt. I'm getting old.
Nowadays, with people wanting to be what they want to be, allowing them to, gender identify how they identify themselves.
Yeah, that's a big time. It's a big part of this time of year as well. It's a time of being able to express yourself, whether you're accepted or not. We also, one of the classes was the queer wheel of the year, which was really awesome. And it gave me a different perspective of the wheel of the year. And that was, you start out with the birthing, of like at Yule, of this is who I am. And, I don't think that most of us think about it, how, a lot of us work hard with wanting to be accepted, and wanting to be open and honest about who we are. But I don't think we realize that we don't have to come out to people. I think that really resonated with me, that you do have to keep coming out and keep coming out and keep coming out like that. And so when you follow the will of the year, the queer will of the year, in that sense of knowing who you are and accepting who you are
Living
and
authentically.
showing other people who you are and being that person that you are, like it's a process. It's a whole process, and it's a lot of work, and it's continuous work all the time. And I mean, us as witches, you know, having to come out, we go through that, but it's nothing, you know, that the queer community has to go
as a
through.
mother of 3 LGBT kids, like and myself as well, I identify as pan. Like it's true. Like that there's, and it's, I love how like that's coming together. I'm really excited that you guys had that class, because like being also like, I have a transgender daughter, so like when in witchcraft there's a lot of like the goddess and the god, and a lot of roles are masculine or feminine, or so somebody who's transgender or non-binary, that can feel very alienating, right? So it's a really, I love that there's a way to like, okay, here's a way to look at those energies, right, as masculine and feminine, without attributing a gender, because we all have those energies within us, both, you know. You know, like, and different days I can be very masculine, I can be very feminine, like, and I'm just comfortable where I'm comfortable, and I'm very fluid, like but I can see where that could be hard for someone who's like trying to find themselves in a community that feels very binary, you know what I mean?
Yes. But that also circles back to you defining yourself, giving yourself a name, you know?
Yeah, and my name, I gave myself a masculine, a god name, right? But Hermes is fluid. So Hermes and Mercury the same. Again, so if you look at the stories of Hermes, it was a hermaphrodite, that word. So both energies existed, right? So it was Hermes, the god, very fluid. Mercury as well, like very it's very fluid. The energy is very fluid. It's just whatever is needed at the time. And that's kind of, I just am that way. And so it was very easy to pick. Well, it was hard to pick that name. It was easy for that name to be given to me. It was hard for me to accept it. Like,
you know, I'm not heavy on the book knowledge, you know. I'm not Google. I'm glad we have it, you know. Everything. But do you feel that this that we are in a springtime, that we as a civilization, as the world, or the big circle of time, or ascension or whatever, are we coming to that? We're okay, where people are coming out to feel comfortable saying who they are.
I think it's evolving. I really
do
think that.
Yeah, a little more than have we.
But you're also seeing an uptick in violence as well. So I think those things go together, because as much as people feel comfortable, and it's not even so much that they feel comfortable doing it, it's that enough is a fucking enough, and we want to live authentically ourselves. So now you see these waves of, you know, people coming out in community together, and then you see a wave of violence happening, because still the people that don't like it are going to react. So you see a rise in people being revolutionary, and you see a rise in people being reactionary. And that's why that's happening. But you also saw it in the 70s, and it was like revolutionary time,
it's
right?
The age of Aquarius.
So it's that same, that it's that energy, that Aquarian energy is saying, live authentically, live who you are, be yourself, be a rebel, speak out. And so people are doing that, and
then the legislature is trying to create all these bills to
and now it's like they're
it.
playing whack-a-mole with all the new progressive stuff. They're just trying to like tamp down all the stuff that happens.
But that's okay, because we're gonna dig tunnels and we'll tear down those barriers.
And all those old white men in Congress are gonna die anyway, because they're all in their 80s. So we are, you know, you're seeing evolution happen, and it just seems like it's happening quick, but it's not. It's just, it's loud.
Yes.
I think people are fed up,
and everything boils down to fear.
That's the reactionary part.
That's what I'm saying. The reactionary is just fear.
Yeah.
Of if we don't follow these rules,
I
think the safety's not gonna.
I think that like the very fundamental like, and I don't mean I just mean the very fundamental like community, right? They react from fear, because I also think that a lot of their aspect of Christianity is very fear-based. It's that very fire and brimstone, violent, angry God, which is like unlike, you know, what I would think a Christian God would be, right? I didn't grow up in that faith, so I just see that as being a very like violent type of, you know, religion, very fire and brimstone. So of course their violent reaction is because what we're bringing is very different and very scary to their way of life.
Right.
Because they keep people together and under one umbrella by fear. It's a fear-based religion with a lot of rules. And here comes this: be yourself, live out loud, change genders, wear what you like. What? Oh my gosh! So their first reaction is absolute fear, and that's why you see a lot of violence against the discrimination, the discriminatory things are becoming very violent. Like, because I think both aspects are getting loud. Yes. And that, I just hope that will quiet at some point. It's got to end. I mean,
we're raising our children different. I think there's a lot more of us who are open to these new ideas and these new ways of life. And even I think COVID, everybody being at home for 2 years, and you know, a lot of people are like, oh my God, I'm home with my kids, I'm home with my family, I can't stand it. And it's like, no, I'm home with my kids, and I'm home with my family, and I'm at home with what's growing out on my land. I'm paying attention to what's happening. I see the seasons change. I see the stars at night. I really think that showed a lot of people how much we depend on society, that we don't have to. We depend on the system, and we don't have to. We can choose the way that we live our lives. We can choose what we eat. We can choose where our food comes from. We can choose if we go to the doctor or not, because I think we saw in 2 years, people didn't take their kids to the doctor when they just had a cold, or they had a sore throat, or they had a tummy ache, because you were scared to go to the doctor because you would get COVID. You know what I'm saying? So we learned that we can heal ourselves, and we don't have to look for somebody else for every single thing that we need. I don't need to know what fashion is going on. I can wear my pajama pants and my cool sash and be all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can put red in my hair if I want to. You know,
it gave people a taste of what it was like back in the day, like back where we didn't have to rush off to an 8 to 5, 9 to 5. It gave people that sense of
freedom.
I mean, and of course I got into I was already living it, sort of the lifestyle because of where I was living.
Yeah, you already worked remotely, right? You're a remote.
Yeah, I was already working remotely for the past 7 years. I feel like, the pandemic, everybody just started doing what I was doing because I was homeschooling, working from home.
Yeah.
Ordered everything online anyway, But I only in the last couple of years have I started, watching YouTube. And of course, so what is also very exciting about this time is we can see other people living life the way they want to, like the living in their cars.
Yeah, the van life.
The
I would
van
do that in a
life.
heartbeat.
I
would
watch those,
love,
or the
love to get a
homesteading.
converted RV, like those, like school bus.
Yes.
And
Oh
it's
my
all
goodness.
decked out all pretty. And I mean, once the
Oh.
kids go to college, and
Yeah, once the kid,
my husband
we're
do that.
caravanning across the country,
That's
man.
what I'm
Oh, my
talking
goodness.
about.
I'll come with that too.
And we'll go from festival to festival, and I'll sell my candles.
Yes.
Chris, you sell your, and we'll do Reiki and intuitive card readings.
That'd be fun.
No, really,
no.
that sounds so attractive to me.
No, I've already tried the Metaphysical Mississippi Mobile
pop-ups. Yeah,
that's what I want.
I love that.
You can come film us.
Yeah,
you follow us and we'll do the pop-ups.
Yes,
You've got it done.
Yeah.
Now, who's gonna win the lottery so we can outfit that?
I know. I've been daydreaming about yeah. Okay, but yeah, just that we can come out and just be our authentic selves. Yeah. So y'all tell me again, when is the March equinox? I had it pulled up online at one time.
Let me look at my
20th
calendar.
at 4:24 p.m. is
there you go. Yeah, 20th to the 22nd is when it's usually observed.
Right. So, and we have our Sabbath, our Temple of Witchcraft in-person Sabbath is on March 18th, Saturday, March 18th.
Which is
and they can go to the Temple of Witchcraft website or to the Mississippi Pagan Meet and Greet on Facebook.
Oh, wonderful for that. Okay. Well, thanks again for coming on. It's a pleasure each time.
Yeah, thanks for having us,
Emily. Bye, Emily.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent.